Very good. So, without further ado, let's start our session, the second session of business strategy. Okay, so first of all, let's start our session with definition of business level strategy. So, what is business level strategy? We've been hearing this term as far as we are working in a company or corporation. We always deal with business level strategy. So what do we actually mean by business level strategy? Business level strategy is an integrated and coordinated set of commitments and actions the firm uses to gain a competitive advantage by exploiting core competencies in specific product markets. So basically, the bottom line is the commitment and actions that the firm use to get competitive advantage over other companies. So your specific products or services that you provide, you always want to commit yourself to certain actions that you will provide the customers with. So the set of the integrated and coordinated of actions that you promise your customers that they will get whenever they buy your products or get your services is your business level strategy. We'll talk about competitive advantage in detail also. So just for now, it's your advantage over other companies. Okay. So at the level of business level strategy, we basically make sure we understand and answer these three key issues. Which good or service you're going to provide, how to manufacture or produce it, and how to distribute it. So first of all, you need to choose the type of product. Let me go ahead and increase the mic. Okay, I hope it's better now. So first of all, you need to choose what type of product you're going to offer. Let's say you're going to be in retail. So what type of brands, what type of products you will be offering in your retail store? Or if you're a computer shop, let's say, what type of computer utilities and accessories you'll be offering the customer. So basically, this answer shows what type of company you are, what type of services or products you would offer the customers. That is a very important question, and the moment you answer and decide to offer that type of product, you're basically, in a sense, choosing the type of industry you are in, the type of company you are. So that is a very important question, and you need to be focused in, offering the product that you're offering. So it is really important to know exactly the answer to this question. Then, after you answer that question, you should be able to know how to manufacture it. So the type of product that you're offering, if it's a real store or retail store, then you wouldn't be producing it. You would be sourcing it from other retailers. But if you're basically a manufacturing company, you will be basically producing it with your machines and machinery. So that is also important, because if you are, let's say, a computer company, software computer company, you should be able to produce that type of software that you're selling your customers. You should know exactly the ins and outs of production of that certain software. Let's say Microsoft, when they're producing Windows 7 or Windows 8 that is coming out soon, uh, they should exactly know how to produce it. They should know how the software works, how to write the program, how to take care of the bugs of the program or the viruses and everything. So they should be really knowledgeable and able and ready to go regarding production of that software, or even hardware companies, or even like pencil companies or pen or any company. You should be able to know how to produce uh, your product. So that is also very important. And then finally, the the final and the bottom line of the business is to get the customer, get the products to the customers. So first, you know what type of product, and secondly, how to produce it, and thirdly, you need to know how to get it to the customer. So from the production to getting the products in the hands of customers, you need to be able to, walk that process through and get the product to the customers, and what type of customers, of course. So these are basic questions, basic three questions that you would be facing when you're dealing with uh, any type of company or corporation. Let's say you're a nonprofit organization. Let's say you're working for some NGO helping uh, like certain people that are not able to, let's say, mm, manage their, let's say, their life. They need some help. So you're basically, that NGO that you're running is kind of helping and extending hands to those type of families. So first, you're providing some service. You're providing some helping hand to the families that are in need. Then second, how you should do that, how that help should be provided. It could be food, it could be finding jobs, it could be uh, money support, or any other type of support they need. So you need to know exactly the sources and get all those. You need to work with certain employing agency. You need to work with certain charity organizations and all that. So you need to know exactly those uh, type of things that you're providing, where they should come from, how they should be sourced, and or if you are basically doing something, you should be able to know exactly how to produce it. Or a hospital, uh, let's say. So a hospital, you're providing healthcare for patients. So you need to exactly know what type of healthcare. Is it a general hospital, or you're specifically uh, specializing in a certain type of healthcare? Are you just having surgeons around, and then those surgeons are focusing on certain surgeries and operations? Or it's a general hospital, you just take in emergencies and any other type of issues, and then you should have certain type of doctors for every single issue that they'll take care of what they should do. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Are you good?
Yes, we do hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So, yeah, whatever type of company you are, you would be dealing with these three questions, and you should be able to answer them. So, anytime in, uh, let's say, in the process of evolving and, uh, you know, progressing during your career, you should be able to answer these three questions. These are basic questions that you need to answer, and whenever you see yourself struggling answering these questions, means that your key issues are not transparent. So you should take time and make sure that you exactly know the answer to these questions. Okay. So the customers. Business level strategic issues regarding customers. Customers are the foundation of successful business strategy. So if you look back at those three questions and issues, so basically customers are the foundation. Let me just take you back there. What type of good or service you provide those to customers. So basically your audience, your targeted customers. How to manufacture it according to the preferences and requirements that the customers put forward. So then again, customers are your major concern. And then how to distribute it for customers. So basically, customers are the foundation of your business. So who will be served by this strategy? So let's say if you're producing toys, your toys will be distributed to certain age group of kids, let's say 7 to 10 year olds, or let's say your toys are for higher or like older kids. So it will be like, let's say you're providing computer games. So then your age group goes much higher. Even adults play games nowadays. So exactly, customer is the king. And so customer is the king is mostly for customer service, but the answer to those questions, a lot of it would be answered with regard to the type of customers you're helping, and then what needs those customers, what needs those target customers have that the strategy will satisfy. So then the strategy that you're using should be able to satisfy certain needs of customers. So as you all know, strategy is just a method, it's a way to do certain things. But what are the exact needs of those customers that you are basically satisfying? So knowing exactly what your customers really need is the key. So the need of the customer is what makes your business worthwhile, what makes your business useful, and also makes your business make sense. So that is also very important. Okay. Beautiful. So let's stop here. I also want to show you some slides regarding the major issues in strategy. I also want to explain some certain key issues before we move forward. So let's also include these core concepts of strategy, sustainable competitive advantage, business model, strategic management process, company's vision, mission, objectives, and strategy making hierarchy. So these are basic concepts that you need to know before we move forward. So let's just explain a bit about that, because I'm using all these terms, and yeah, you should be able to see the slides on your main page. Okay, yeah, beautiful. Okay, so before I move forward and using all those terms, let's just make a quick explanation of these terms that I'm using, so that you have a good understanding of all these jargons that we use, because they'll be using all these jargons during the semester, and it's really important to know what we exactly mean by each of them. Okay, so let's start with a strategy. So strategy basically consists of competitive moves and business approaches that managers employ. Okay, one of the students is asking about break time. Our class is our class starts 7 o'clock until 8:30. So you're more than welcome to go for prayer and come back. But we wouldn't have any breaks during the class, and the class is recorded, so that those minutes that you lose, you can absolutely come back always and just review it online. You can just go ahead, but the class will continue. Okay. So strategy consists of competitive moves and business approaches that managers employ. So by strategy, we exactly mean that those competitive moves that you use during your business. So first, you want to attract and please customers. You want to compete successfully. You want to grow the business. You want to conduct operations. And finally, you want to achieve targeted objectives. So strategy was basically adopted from the war terms, like back in the day when countries or emperors or empires were fighting each other. They would use strategy. They would use strategy to win the battle. So that kind of concept has been taken and now is being utilized in business area. It's as if companies and corporations are fighting against each other. That competition sometimes becomes pretty harsh, and companies are trying to fight against each other. Let's say you're two competitors in a certain product that both of you are, let's say, producing, like Sony and Panasonic or Sony and Samsung, and they're producing their TVs. When they provide their new products, it's as if each of those products is going to fight against the other company and make customers buy that type of product that they are offering. So if it's an HD Sony, you want to make sure that your fine product is better than what Samsung is offering, and you want to make sure you add features like Wi-Fi or whatever is possible. The customer, end of the day, with the same price is paying, is getting a better value out of the product. So you want to attract and please customers. You want to make your product as exciting and pleasing as possible. You want to make customers say wow the moment they see your product. Or if you're a service company, if you're, let's say, offering services to those who are struggling with their software, you're a backup service company that people can call when they're experiencing problems with their Windows. You're part of Microsoft and you're offering those services. So you want to make sure you really wow the customer the moment they call you, from the start of your conversation till the end. You want to make sure you really acknowledge the fact that the customer's chosen you, and then make sure you tackle the issue, help them solve the problem, and then finalize the conversation and make sure the customer has a great phone experience or service experience. So you want to make sure that you attract and please your customers. You want to make sure customers are happy when they come to you, and you make sure they come back. Then you want to compete successfully. You want to make sure that when you're competing against other companies, you are successful. Because if you're a loser, that means you're losing business. It means that customers are choosing the other product of the competitor or other company, and means that your product is not getting what it is supposed to. And then you want to grow your business. Nowadays, there was a time that you would have certain number of customers. Let's say you were providing some batteries, and those batteries, as far as you had certain number of customers, you were okay. Those customers will stay with you. They will be loyal to you, and then you would be fine. You wouldn't worry about advertising. You wouldn't worry about growing and expanding your business. But now the scenario is definitely different. Now you got to make sure that you're growing every second. Your customers are multiplying. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive. So growth is part of your business now. You can't just stay where you are. Otherwise, you will expire. So growth is a major issue when you're developing your strategy. You got to make sure that strategy welcomes and enhances and makes the process of growing something natural. So strategies that are not taking into consideration how to grow are not complete. Then finally, you got to conduct operations and achieve your targeted objectives. So for sure, you got to make sure you have some objectives, and then to be able to get to those, you got to develop certain strategies. So just the bottom line is, your strategy should make sure you're able to take care of everything that you're supposed to get from point A to point B. Point A being scratch and B being where you want to be. So these are major concerns that you got to consider. And then strategy involves making analysis and choices. So by strategy, there are certain people that by mistake, when you say strategy, they just take one of these issues and they just think that what we mean by strategy is just a method and that's it. But it's not correct. Strategy should be analysis that you're making and finally making choices. So that is really important. Unless you make a choice, your strategy is not complete. So definitely make sure that your strategy is leading into making choices. So, but getting back to the previous part, when you attract the customers and please them, when you compete successfully, when you grow the business, when you conduct operations, when you achieve targeted objectives, in every single step you're making choices. You're making choice on how to attract the customers, how to please them, and then how, by using certain strategies and analyzing those correctly, how you could compete and win over other customers, how to grow the business, so you're making choices about expanding, how to budget certain expenses, and how to make certain expenses to be able to advertise. So all these are part of your strategy, and you're all the time making choices along the way. Okay, so just pause here. Any questions so far? Any comments? Anybody has some question want to share with us? You can absolutely raise your hand, talk in a class, or write it in the chat box. The business did not grow. If the business does not grow. It's really natural when you're doing something you're doing. Let's say you're choosing to produce certain product. So you're using a certain machinery to produce that product. You're using certain or the number of employees to do that. So it takes certain amount of time to produce that certain product, and then you use certain marketing strategies to get it out, and then get it to the customers. So it's really natural you get stabilized in a certain production level. If your production level is, let's say, at level B, you will end up staying there if you keep doing what you're doing right now. So what we mean by strategy means that you gotta make sure that that level B is increasing as your customers are increasing. Let's say you have 1,000 customers when you start your business because you've done advertising in advance and certain number of customers are out there. So the moment you launch your business, you have 1,000 customers. So if you stay there, I mean, your customers are going to stay the same, and you're going to sell them the same product, and it's not going to work. You got to increase the number of customers. You got to increase the production level. So all these are part of growth, and you should include that in your strategy, in your business strategy. So to answer your question, let's just go back here. Definitely, if it's not growing, there's something wrong with your strategy. So your strategy should welcome and enhance the growth. So that is to answer your question. And the next question is, if the strategy is developed and the business not grow, yeah, it's just because of all those reasons. You have not, consider how to attract the customers. So you have certain customers, you got to be able to attract new customers. You got to be able to compete successfully. You got to grow business. So basically, your growth is so much in line with the type of a strategy you use and how well you maintain, tackling those and using those strategies. So there's something wrong with either your strategy or how you use it and perform. Okay. Then the next question we have here. How much flexibility should the strategy have? For sure, your strategy should be fixed within an amount of time, but of course, when there are issues, for every single issue, you will use a certain strategy. By strategy, as I said, it's not just a method, just a way of doing things. It's basically something that leads into a decision-making level. So you got to make a decision, either you and also involve the customers in making a decision. So strategy is not just an alternative term for a way. It's basically a process. So they are pretty. I mean, when it comes to strategy, every single business, every successful business, they will use their own type of a strategy. That is for sure. That's like how Apple grew, or Microsoft, or all those big companies that started business. They started really small with certain level of strategies, and then they grew. So definitely you need to have a certain strategy written down, and it should be pretty fixed. Okay. Then, do we need research for development? Definitely you need research. So growth, just keep that in mind. Every successful company that you can name now, like Apple, like computer companies, car companies, like Japanese cars, Toyota, all those big names, they have a huge research and development section working day and night on their strategies. So a good strategy is something out of a very detailed and well thought research that has been done prior to that. So before you run your strategy, make sure this is your strategy. You got to make sure that you have done a proper research required to be able to write down that strategy. Because if it's not, then you're not basically tackling the major problems and issues. If you don't do research, how would you know your customers? You got to know what exactly your customers need. What is missing? Let's say you're offering a new mouse or keyboard. There are thousands of keyboards out there. If you're just making another one, that doesn't make any sense. You got to make sure, okay, when I'm offering this product, that's going to make sense for the customer. I'm going to tell them, you got to choose my product, my keyboard, because I'm offering you this type of keyboard. Let's say that the typing is faster. Let's say that when you press the buttons, they're much more flexible and it's much easier for your fingers to type. So that makes sense. Or let's say my keyboards are going to be wireless and it will cover in 100 feet. So that's also another thing. So you're giving them some goodies, something that they like. That makes sense. So you got to study the market. You got to see what type of keyboards are out there that when you're offering your keyboard, you tell them that 90% of keyboards in the market, they're offering this type of features. And 10% that are better, they have these extra features. Me, when I enter the market, I'll cover that 90% plus 10% plus these extra features. You know, that makes sense. And you only are able to do that via research and development. So if you don't, then definitely you won't be able to. Then okay, so that's for research. Strategies are the important elements of planning, for sure. Yes, that looks like a comment, more of a comment. Do we need to change the strategy? Yes, we do need to change the strategy. When we develop and devise strategies, we have certain timelines. When your major, basic, fundamental strategies of the business, they're going to stay there for a long time. So make sure that you have done good research when you're devising your strategy. But at the same time, there are certain strategies that are for a shorter period of time, and those will be changed and alternated with new strategies when there is a need. Okay. When we want to decide about first question, what to do, we explore some ideas. What is a specific or a business idea to differentiate from a simple? Okay. First of all, I will answer your question, Dr. Hunter, with just referring you to this fact that, like, just a month ago, there was this company. I mean, there were a bunch of school guys who made an application for iPhone, which is called a Doodle Buddy. You know, Doodle Buddy is a feature on your iPhone or on your iPad that it can draw pictures or take pictures, put some notes on it, and it's a very, very simple thing that it looks like it's for kids. It gained a lot of popularity, and over a few millions started downloading it, and it made a hit. And it was so big that Facebook bought it for I think a couple billions of dollars. So when you look at it, you see the idea was pretty simple, pretty basic. People need to draw and like decorate their pictures, send it to each other, be able to save it onto their pictures or upload it on their Facebook or email it and all that. So it just got the idea, and it was a very simple idea. But because it was really tackling a certain need that they realized people have, it it became a success story. So simple ideas, don't take them for granted. Don't think that they are really worth nothing, because the idea is, it's got to be simple. It's got to be something really necessary and neat, and something out there that people really care about. So don't think that if it's a simple idea, it's not worthwhile. But 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 definitely, when you explore ideas, your idea should be genuine, should be something that really benefit the customer, should be something that really makes sense. So I'll just leave it at that. Make sure you make sense. Make sure your idea makes sense, and you have some argument in your offering that product. You have something to offer, and you have something to provide. So uh, your idea, if it's simple, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. A lot of simple ideas have been wonderful, and customers have been buying those and using those just forever. So what are the differences between a strategy, vision, mission, and objective? We're going to go to that just in the next few slides. Okay, strategy, plan, action, achieving one's goals, objectives. So this looks like a comment. Beautiful. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. Sustainable competitive advantage. So I just talked about it in the other slide, and let's just explain what do we mean by competitive advantage. A company has competitive advantage when sizable number of buyers prefer its products or services over offerings of competitors. So basically, the idea of competitive advantage is what clarifies or makes sure that your business is making sense. And it makes sense only when your customers will choose you over, choose your products or services over other competitors. So, in a sense, it goes back to the same idea of a war strategy kind of concept, that there is a war, there is a battle, there's all those companies having their products having same functional purposes, and they're all out there, and customer in the market will decide which one to choose, and they're only going to decide to choose which product or service, and it's going to be based on like how well those products will satisfy their needs, how well it will take care of their problems, how well the customer service is, how satisfied they are when they're using the product, how reliable the product is, all these features of the product. So end of the day, they'll choose only one product. Let's say you have $10 to go buy your thumb drive. I mean, thumb drives are pretty basic. It's just you go and buy. You don't care about the branding that much. But let's say your product is something of a more specific need kind of basis. Let's say you're producing certain pen. You know, pens are really different. Like you could produce a basic pen, or you could have a luxurious pen that like people use, and it has a very beautiful look, and it writes pretty well and all that. So that pen that you're offering to the market gonna make sense when the customer goes there and is going to spend $100 on a pen. So there are certain number of pens out there. Let's say those Parker, Lenny, and all those names and brands. So they're going to choose only one because they have that $100, and they're going to buy that pen at the end of the day. So that pen that they're going to choose is the one that really meets their needs and what exactly they're looking for. So it's like a competition. The number of customers out there, you just don't need only one customers. You need a bunch of customers. You need plentiful of customers choosing your product compared to same level of products that are out there. So that is called competitive advantage. When you continually win during this battle. The customers, they'll choose you over other customers during this competition. So and then just in the continuation to the same concept, the company achieves sustainable competitive advantage when the basis for this preference is durable. So durability is really important when it comes to competitive advantage. You just don't win once and then lose the other battles. You got to win continuously. Your customer will choose you this time and next time and all times afterwards. The customers that you gain and new customers you gain, they got to continue using your products. And that's the key. The key is a durable competitive advantage, a durable, sustainable competitive advantage when it's durable, when it stays, when your customer prefers you all the time, not just once, but all the time. And then for four possible strategic approaches to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. Okay, what are the possible strategic approaches to get that sustainable competitive advantage? Okay, first, being an industry's low-cost provider or differentiating features, focus on narrow niches and expertise and resource strength that rivals cannot compete or imitate. So out there are certain strategies. One is a low-cost provider approach, which means that your company is providing the lower-cost products. Let's say if you're using the same concept of keyboard, you're just saying, okay, I'm cheaper. If there are 100 brands out there offering keyboards, my product beats all of them. It's cheaper than 90% of the products out there, and it's pretty presentable. The quality and everything is okay. So that makes sense. Or you're differentiating. You say my keyboard, like as I explained for the previous example, has these extra features. It's really fast in typing, it's comfortable, and it's wireless, and it looks better. It looks like it's really comfortable when you use your hand on it, and the shape of the keys is kind of very neat and nice, and the size of the keyboard is really portable. You can take it anywhere you like. You see, these are these are the extra features that you're adding to the keyboard, and that's what makes your product a success. Or focusing on narrow niches. You could just take a niche market with a certain need and say, okay, I'm going to help you satisfy all your needs. So these are what I'm going to offer you. So then again, when you focus on that niche market, you will have your customers happy and satisfied. So then again, it makes sense. It has that idea that, okay, I'm just focusing on certain level of the market that they have this type of need, and it's mostly a higher end. They're looking for better products, better looking products. So you're just focusing on that small chunk size of the market, but you're so good at it, you take it all yourself. Or your expertise in resource strengths that rivals cannot compete or imitate, and then you have expertise that nobody else can imitate. So a good example of a niche market, let's say when it comes to cell phones, there are several cell phones out there. You have, let's say, iPhones, you have BlueBerry, you have Nokia, all these brands. But there are certain niche market cell phones out there. A good example is Vertu. Vertu is basically, the Vertu products are, it's a certain line of business out of Nokia, but these type of, Vertu, exactly. These cell phones are handmade, and they start from $50,000 price. So how many cell phones are out there that are $50,000?
not many, right? So these virtual products, they are handmade, they are used, they make it out of uranium and all these different very flexible elements, and they look really nice, and they brand them with certain celebrities or famous people like Michael Schumacher or certain customers, and there are not many of those out. Let's say when they produce a certain cell phone, that cell phone they have 4 or 5, and those 4 or 5, there are certain customers that they'll buy. So that is a niche market. Not every single customer is going to pay $50,000 for a cell phone. So that is a niche market. Or let's say a certain type of when you're producing a computer, like that certain product that is like with extra feature, that is a niche market. To answer your question, Dr. Carter, these elements, first of all, which approaches? Are you talking about these 4 possible approaches? Or where are you? Please ask your question more specifically so I can answer it. So are you talking about these 4 features, or you're generally talking about strategies? Are you still there, Dr. Carter? About 4 approaches. Mostly, if you're a low-cost provider, it's not necessarily, I mean, you won't go to a niche market. You're just trying to get as much customers as possible. Or when you're differentiating, you're just focusing on that. Or, but sometimes it's a combination. So it really depends on the type of business that you're running. And you could be using all these 4 to have a sustainable competitive advantage. Because nowadays the competition is so tough, and just doing one is not enough anymore. There was a time that just doing one was good enough, but not anymore. So a lot of companies are trying to do all of that together now. So it's different now from what it was. So yeah, it could be 1, 2, 3, or a combination. So it could be. It all depends on your approach. What about some examples of the last approach? The last approach is like, a good example is like Apple. There are several brands of computers out there. HP, you know, Sony, just you name it, BenQ, all these different brands out there. And there's only one product called Apple. For the same amount of $1,000 that you buy an Apple product, you could probably get something with better or more features on your computer. But customers choose to pay $1,000 to get their Apple product. Why? Because Apple has created a monopoly, an exclusive type of product. There is only one company that produces an Apple computer, and that's called Apple. So the certain look, the certain design, the certain software that you use is only within Apple. You only got to use something that is suitable with the Apple. If you're getting a software, it should be Macintosh compatible. So you see, that is something that not others can do. Not everyone can go out there and say, okay, I can produce exactly the same look, the same way of product, and call it like something else. It's just specific to Apple. That is something that people cannot copy easily. So if you're making something, if you're making some product like watches or let's say wallets or whatever you're producing, if it's something that those features, those benefits that they're offering customers are stuff that everybody can produce, everybody can imitate, why would they choose you? uh, you need a more clear example of a focus on a narrow niches. Okay, so a more clear example, I mean, that example that I gave you is pretty clear. Virtu is a niche market, whereas like Nokia is a general production line that they offer cell phones. So the niche market of Nokia, they call it even a different name, Virtu, because it's offering you a product that is totally different with some certain level of customers they're dealing with. They're just focusing on that niche market of certain rich customers. They want a different cell phone, and they call it Virtu. Another niche market are probably some product line of a certain company. Let's say you're offering cell phones. I mean, Virtu is just a branch out of the general cell phone that you're offering. Let's say you're producing softwares. Everybody's buying, let's say, Microsoft Word, but when you customize it into a Microsoft Word, a specialized version, it has extra features. Or let's say when you're buying antiviruses like Kaspersky, general basic antivirus is just something everybody buys, but when you buy the specialized version, it has extra features for those type of customers that they're dealing with more major viruses. They need something extra and extra and extra. So that certain other product that you use that not everybody is going to buy, only certain type of people, and you're just focusing on them, it's called a niche market. I hope that helps you to get the idea. Okay. So now let's get to the business model. No matter what you do, whatever type of business you have, you got to have a business model. So a company's business model describes the economic logic of how its strategy can deliver value to customers at a price and cost that yields acceptable profitability. What does that mean? To explain a bit more, what we mean is the business model should have some logic in it, some economic logic. So the strategy you use should deliver value. First of all, I need to clarify that nowadays we're just dealing with value. No matter what type of service or product you're offering, it's got to be valuable to customers. But gone are those days that you could just give them a product, say, well, this is my product, get it or leave it, that's what it is, and I'm happy. And they'll buy your product anyway. Now customers, they say, okay, functionality of the products, every single brand is offering me, let's say, a computer. If I want a laptop, there are several laptops, they all start up and then they have these features. I can install Microsoft Word, or I can run my certain type of businesses or softwares on them. So they're pretty good, all of them. So if you're just giving me a similar laptop, I'm not gonna care to buy your product. You got to tell me something extra. You got to give me some valuable, offering. I don't just get it because it's a laptop. So value is really a key term here, and I really suggest that you take it seriously. So you got to make sense for customer. You got to tell them, okay, this is the value, this is the benefit you get if you use this product. So first of all, the economic logic should help you devise a strategy to deliver value to customers. But that's not enough either. You got to make sure the price and cost, they make sense also. Customers always want cheaper, better product. I mean, they want it cheaper and at the same time better. they're getting more and more demanding every single day. So that's for customers. But when it comes to you, economically, you got to make sense. You have a certain cost plus your margin, which is your profit. You get to the final price for that product. So when you are trying to reduce the price, you either have to reduce your profit or you reduce the cost of production. Reducing your profit is definitely not a good idea, but reducing the cost is a great idea. So you want to reduce the cost part of this equation to make sure the price of your product goes down and it's profitable. So that should also be a consideration. You've got to make sure you have profitability. I mean, there are times that you're making tons of a product, and then it makes sense to reduce your profit because you're making profit in economies of scale. In a huge number of products when you sell, let's say you're selling a product for $100, and that $100, when you have the $100 is inclusive of $80 cost of production plus $20 profit. So if you sell 10 of those, it's $1,000, and $1,000 means that you have $200 profit, right? So if let's say you're selling only 100 of those products, you're making $10,000, which is $2,000 profit. But if you're selling 100,000, it will be easy for you to reduce your profit because you're selling way more number of products, and that will help you to get your profitability. So that is the economic aspect. We absolutely talk more in the economic course, business and economy, and explore more deeper into economic ideas and how they work. Business model deals with whether the revenues and costs flowing from the strategy show business viability. So your business model is the one that shows that the revenue and costs flowing from the strategy show business viability. Your business should be viable, should be legitimate, should be something that gives you revenue and costs. I mean, the amount of expenses you make is going to end in a certain profitability. If you're just expensing and not making money, I mean, your business is not going to make sense. So you got to make sure that your business makes sense. So it's all about bottom line. The bottom line of your business is the value you give your customers, in return you get this profit. So the bottom line is you got to make sense. And a company should have a business model that promises acceptable profit, regardless of whether there are competitors or not. So your business model should promise some acceptable profit to you, and even if there are competitors or not, you got to have that profit, otherwise you'll go out of business. Okay, so now I'll pause here. Are there any questions so far? Any comments? Anything you want to clarify? Anything you didn't get? You want me to explain more? Just please go ahead and ask me. Yeah, bottom line means that the final answer, final conclusion to what you're doing is the profit that you're going to get from customers. So if you're producing this number of products and there are several competitors out there, you got to compete, you got to win them over, you got to have your number of customers who are going to choose you and everything. All these are correct. But bottom line means the final conclusion, final point is you got to make profit. Otherwise, you'll go out of business. It's not I mean, when you're producing a product, you're incurring costs, and just getting the cost means you're doing it for nothing. So if it's costing you $10 to produce a product and you're selling it for $10, you are working for nothing and you'll go out of business. You've got to have a profit, and that's what you make doing something, and that's what keeps your business going. So the bottom line is, if you don't have that profit, regardless of the competition out there, you're out of business. So the bottom line is, even though there is competition out there, you should have a certain amount of profit to be able to survive. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. Any other questions? Any comments? Business viability. By business viability means your business should make sense. So it's basically saying that, let's say if I'm producing keyboards, back to our example, business viability means that my business is viable. My business makes sense because I make profit, because when I talk to customers, I tell them I have these extra features, and that's why my product is priced this much. And when they buy it, they enjoy it, they like it, and when they buy with a certain number of customers, I will make this much profit. So viability means that sensibility, means it should make sense. It should be something that is understandable. It should be something that is useful. It should be something that is doable. So it's doability. Sure. Any other comments so far? Okay. So let's go to the next slide. A strategic management process. The steps by which management converts a firm's vision, mission, and goals or objectives into a workable strategy. So this is where we get to these nice things. It's called vision, mission, and objectives. So when you are going through a strategic management process, you use the steps as a manager to convert all these features into a workable strategy. So basically, strategic management is using your vision, mission, and goals, and then devise a strategy to make them possible. It means moving towards your vision, doing your mission, and getting to your goals. So there are four stages to that. First is external and internal analysis, which is SWOT analysis. We will talk in detail about SWOT analysis. That is something you will use in your final project. That is a type of analysis that you definitely will use in your career and in your life. And whenever you want to make a presentation about viability of a project, you will always consider SWOT analysis, because it's a very good analysis and makes sense, and it's really easy to understand it. So it's very important. We'll talk a lot about SWOT analysis during the course, so that is really an important concept. Then formulation of mission and policies. What are your missions and policies? You got to formulate that. And then implementation means that you got to implement all those policies. And then evaluation and adjustment means that you got to evaluate them at the end of the day. So we'll talk in more depth about all these four when we go further. But exactly. The SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We will talk about it. It's really important. Yes. So let's talk about it in detail. Let's talk about what we mean by company's mission and see what we actually mean by that. There are several analysis approaches out there, like what you said, Mr. Navid, the past analysis, which is political, economic, social, and technological analysis. There are several of them out there, but we focus on SWOT analysis in this course because that's really in line with the basic ideas of a strategy and strategy development and strategic management. So our focus is going to be on SWOT analysis, not on other type of analysis. There are several of them out there, and each of them have their own good. But in this course, we'll focus on SWOT analysis. Okay, company's vision. A strategic vision is a roadmap showing the route a company intends to take in developing and strengthening its business. So, strategic vision is actually a roadmap. You're basically taking a roadmap and the route that your company is taking in developing and strengthening your business. So just look at it in this way, that when you're developing your vision, is like a perspective you're giving your customers. You got to tell them, when you look through the eyes of our company, you'll see all these. This is the roadmap. This is where we're going. We're taking you through all these adventures, and these are the steps we're going to take during our development. So basically, you're painting a picture of your company, your destination, where you want to go, where you want to be. So your vision is not where you are, but it's more of a where you're going to, your destination. And it portrays company's future business goal. So it's like your perspective. It's your future that you're sharing with your customers. You tell them, we are going this way. We are going to be there. Okay, any questions so far? Yes, your destination, your future, your perspective. You tell them, this is where we're going to be. And that's really important to customers, because when their loyalty in the customers, when they choose a product in certain lines of business, when they choose a product, it means that when they choose that brand, they're going to keep on using that brand. And it's really important for them to know where your company is going. If they know that your company is going in a wrong direction compared to their analogy, they're not going to choose you. So the roadmap and your future and your destination is really important to customers. So you got to make sure you share it with your customers. Okay. So we have a question for um, differences between goals and vision. Yeah, for sure there are differences. Uh, I'm going to explain them in the next slides, but as far as vision is where you want to go. You don't explain how you're going to go there and what you're doing right now. It's just where you're going. It's like your destiny. Let's say when you start a trip, when you're starting the trip, you say, I'm going to, let's say, Los Angeles. That's my destination. So that's your vision. When I start my trip, I'm going to Los Angeles. I may start it from Kuala Lumpur or Kabul or anywhere, but I'm going to Los Angeles. So that's your destination. That's where you're going. So that is really important. When you share with your customers that where you're going is actually very important. Okay. So to answer your question regarding what is Apple's vision, the Apple's vision, let's say, for example, is to make a contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance humankind. So that's their vision. They're making tools, and by that they're contributing to the world, and they're advancing humankind's mind. So that's their vision. Sure. So let's go to the next slide. The company's mission. What is the company's mission? So the company's mission statement articulates who we are, what we do, and why we are here. So basically, your mission is where you are right now, who you are now, what is it that you're doing right now, and where you are right now. So it's basically an explanation and description of where you are right now. So company's mission describes its present business scope and purpose, and is defined by the buyer it seeks to satisfy, the customer groups and market segments it is endeavoring to serve, and finally the resources and technologies that it is developing in trying to please its customers. So basically, your mission is more of your current scenario. Okay, what's going on right now? What type of buyers are you looking for and that you're trying to satisfy? The customers groups that you're helping and serving in market segments that you're providing your customers to. Then the resources and technologies that you're developing and in the process. So basically, your mission is more of an explanation of where exactly you are right now. So the difference between vision and mission is vision tells us where you're going, and mission tells us where you are. And then finally, the objectives I remember you asked me, what is the difference between objectives and vision? So objectives are your performance targets. It's like your goals. Let's say when you take a course, when you take business strategy, your objective is to learn all these concepts and then pass the course end of the day. That's your objective. But your vision when you take business strategy is to get a better understanding of the business strategy, what it really means, how to apply it in your career and life. And your mission, of course, is like doing all the assignments that you're assigned to, studying the course when we go along, trying to understand, be present at the class, doing all those presentations and all those tasks to be able to master. So that's basically like how it is. So your objectives, your goals are like your yardstick, like your measurements. You say, okay, when you set objectives, like let's say when you attend a class, you say, my objective for this class is to make sure I understand everything that the instructor is talking about. And I'm able to differentiate between all these concepts. Your mission is definitely usable for your future plan because it tells you where you are. Let's say if you're going back to the same example when I said you're going to Los Angeles. If you don't know that where you are, let's say if you are in Vancouver, you got to take a different route from when you are in Luxembourg or in Berlin or in Kabul. So you got to know where you are, which is your mission, so you know where is your starting point for your future plan. If you don't know where you are, how are you going to tell me you're going through these directions and you have no idea where you are right now? So your mission, which tells you where you are, like where your company is financially and strategically, you definitely need that to be able to tell me how you're going to improve. Okay, good. So two distinct types of objectives. We have financial objectives and strategic objectives. So as you can see, like examples are your revenues, your credit rating, cash flows, all that, and strategically your market share, your cost, your brand name, your technology. Okay. So a strategy making hierarchy. A company's overall strategy is a collection of strategic initiatives and action devised by managers and key employees up and down. So you got to make sure you have some collective strategic initiative, and managers are going to do that, and key employees up and down as the whole organization. So you have corporate strategy, business competitive strategy, functional strategy, and operational strategy. So we will explain all these in detail when we go along and see what exactly we mean by each of them. But basically, the hierarchy means that how you divide the strategy at the upper level of management and then lay down all the way to the bottom line, the bottom of the company, everybody in the business. So now I want to give you an assignment. Okay, so your assignment for today is please write your vision, mission, and objectives. By your, I mean your company. If you have your own company, I want to hear you tell me what is your vision, mission, and objectives. If you're working for a certain organization, tell me your organization's vision, mission, and objectives. So you have about like 5 minutes to think about it and come up with that, and just type it down for me. And I also want you to email it to me. by tomorrow, the same thing that you're doing now, you're going to email it to me, and that is your assignment. So make sure every single session that we do assignments, you will email your assignment to me. Otherwise, I consider that not done, and you'll miss the score for it. So make sure you email the assignments by next day to me always. But I want it done now. So it is not something that you just say, okay, we'll go and study about it and do it later. It's something you do in the class. I just want you to email it to me by next day. If you want to sort it out and make it like look better, it's fine. You have a day. But you do it in the class. So you have only 5 minutes to work on it, and then do it in the class. So every single session, you will get an assignment. You'll do it in a class. We will share it after that, and then by next day, I'll receive it in email. So that's how it's going to work. So now you have 5 minutes to answer those questions, and then we will discuss it. So I give you 5 minutes. Take your time, and we'll discuss it. Okay. So let's start with Mr. Orias. Your company's vision and mission. Your vision is to satisfy your clients with meeting their needs and expectations while providing the best service with an affordable cost and reasonable time frame. Vision is okay. So for Mr. Oria, I gotta tell you that you got your vision and mission the other way. So basically, what you wrote as your vision is your mission, and what you wrote as your mission is your vision. As I mentioned, your vision is what you want to do in the future. So it's like when you said that you would like to contribute in a stability process of Afghanistan and take part in rebuilding, destroy. This is what you want to do. This is like what you want to do in the future. That's your vision. And your mission is basically to satisfy your clients with meeting their needs. And it's like the detailed version of what you're doing. So that's the other way around. What you wrote as your vision is your mission, and what you wrote as your mission is your vision. So please correct that when you send it to me. And don't forget about your objectives. Also send me your objectives. Okay. Dr. Khotter, National. Okay, no problem. Dr. Khotter. So, your vision is to be national standards body in Afghanistan capable of meeting needs of stakeholders, documenters, and wars. And then your mission is to provide training services, national standard conformity, goals. Okay, very good. Your vision and looking for development. Vision is a commitment of successful commercial. Very good. They need the companies to close and communities for community. Yeah. Okay, very good. Very good. You got the idea, and very good. So make sure you email to me. You can email it right now, or you have until tomorrow to email me. So that's pretty much it. If you don't have any questions, we can finalize this session. Are there any questions, any concerns, any comments that you want to mention before we end the session? So any questions? Okay, sure. The slides are going to be sent to you, so I'll give this slides to the admin. They'll give it to you, and for the book, I have already given it to you. The syllabus, I emailed it to the admin, and you should have it by now. It should be on LMS. So the book, the source book that I told you, is already on your LMS. You can go ahead and purchase it and buy it. And okay, you can absolutely talk to admin. Email Mr. Reza or Saeed, and they'll make sure that you have it. And also regarding the slides as well. Okay. Very well. So this is the end of the session, and we have a recording. Oh, the recording is available on. They will upload it on Facebook, our page. After each session, you will have the recording, and it's also on LMS. Okay. Very well. Thank you so much for attending the class, and I hope you have a nice week. What is it? Oh, you don't have user and password until next week. Okay, sure. But you will have it on your Facebook page for the recording, and also they'll email you the syllabus. Okay. No problem. Okay, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.